All right, friends, welcome to this video. My name is Alexander Sasha Konstantinov, and I will be sharing how you can become an independent founder in 6 weeks by building your unique business. So let's jump right into it. So, where I'm coming from is having studied innovative entrepreneurship at MIT and then exploring Silicon Valley for 4 years and just going to places like Y Combinator to really breathe the same air, which is sort of electrified in San Francisco, in my perception. And so I've been really in entrepreneurship and building businesses and understanding really how what it is to build a business and how it is done and what's the recipe for getting that done. And definitely having bumped into many, many, many walls and having been very naive about this whole thing many, many times and falling into traps like and brand names and like wannabe entrepreneurship and all kinds of things, and also wanting to kind of help others before I can fix some important things for myself, things like that. And so I'm speaking from the experience of now having worked with a few hundred founders throughout my life and having assisted with articulating founders' uniqueness for over 200 people and having worked with people on building their unique businesses and now working from zero to product market fit and beyond. So this is where I'm coming from, and let's make sure that this is for you, because if it's not, there's no point for anyone involved. So if you are right now building someone else's dream, aka you have a job, and you feel like you're only showing a fraction of your potential at work, so kind of like they only see a small piece of you, of what you're actually capable of. So if that sounds like you, or you know that at the same time you're meant for, something more, something bigger than the job you're currently in, and but you haven't pulled the trigger because you've been thinking about maybe, AI businesses and reading about people that get rich with AI overnight, which doesn't really exist. But you haven't pulled the trigger because, like, if you quit, then what do you even do, right? Uh, like what kind of business would you build? And also, what about the savings? Like right now, they're kind of building up, but then by definition, they're going to be melting down. And so, like, how much runway do I really have for that? And like, also, I have this and that perks, and at the job, I'm really learning somewhat as well. So. This is if this also describes you, then you may already be probably helping some people for free. So like giving consulting to like free consulting to friends, and helping with their business idea, and that maybe, like having a long coffee with someone and just staying over time and assisting them with to think through something, and then feeling like, it's actually very valuable for them, but then going like this maybe for even months or years without having it named or packaged and just keep giving it, for free as charity. So if that sounds like you, and if also AI has been kind of rewriting your job description over time and even faster and faster, when we see like on social media and whatever, even if we don't see them, we hear about this and that teenager that just sold their company or made like a very viral move with this or that AI product, and some of them, being 19 or even like 16, things like that. So if you checked on even one of these, then this presentation is for you. So I'm going to break down what doesn't work in entrepreneurship, and this may save you years, a lot of pain, perhaps. At least if I heard this information when I was starting, I would definitely take shorter routes And so, like the first thing that we hear, when we even start speaking about entrepreneurship, and they tell us to do market research, like do your market research first. You gotta, have a good market research, and that may mean as just asking about the market size when we're starting or something like that, not really knowing what that is, or that could be asking. Actually doing some customer development and actually talking to people, if you're familiar with those approaches. But the point is that they tell us to build from market need. So identify something that is like needed, some kind of a gap somewhere. And so you kind of like look at the gap and you say, oh, I'm going to fill that gap. They tell us, right? So they don't tell us to focus. And when I say they, it's really kind of the startup industry even, and what we can read in the media on startups and things like that. Rarely people tell us to focus on what we uniquely deliver best. And so something else we hear a lot is they tell us create customer personas. And when like as we do this more and more, we kind of start understanding more what is meant by the customer persona. But I think a common experience among everybody who's listening, or almost everybody, is that it actually feels mechanical. Like it never touches the point where you go like, oh, I get it, I get it. It's like you put some generic phrases and then you learn to make them more precise, but then they still sound super generic. Like that it's like so many people, you don't even understand who's in there, who's not in there. So that's something else that people do a lot. They spend time on these customer personas. Then okay, more like for founders that have already tried something, they tell us to pivot until you find product market fit, right? That holy grail product market fit, when things flip and the demand starts coming so much that you just need to fulfill that demand. And so growth and money is kind of like not a problem anymore. It's just a question of like how exponential you're making it. So that's what they tell you, right? Like you don't see product market fit, so pivot. Then you do your research, market research, you do your customer personas and all of that stuff, the customer development, talk to your customers, find an urgent, even like more profound frameworks, such as they tell you, find more. Um, find a pain that is unique for a particular segment, and that is urgent for these people, and that is important for them to get out of. Those kinds of formulas like sounds right, but then how do you actually like do that? How do you actually apply that? How do you actually find that, right? And then the more generic kind of message we receive is just grind harder. Like people that succeed, they really grind, okay? They really grind, they grind, and then they outgrind everybody, and then boom. But the truth is that you think you're not grinding right now? Yeah, yeah. I think that people like this tribe of people that have this entrepreneurship desire to express through business. Like we pretty much grind already, right? If you have a daytime job, and even if you have like great hours, you're probably working on something of your own. And so you're working kind of like two jobs, perhaps, if you look at it this way. So, anyways, we'll speak a little more about grinding further. Okay. So, and then the funnel. So the funnel trap is that, and that's kind of like also quite subtle. Like if you actually manage to, not fall into that trap, um, good job, because yeah, because you hear that a lot, and it's there's so much like advertising that advertises all kinds of gimmicks and techniques and funnels, and they say this is going to work to scale, and then you may even like watch these webinars, and um, basically, yeah, it comes down that funnels, like these gimmicks, they're amplifiers, like little boosters. Okay, they boost your growth that you have, but they don't scale something that is kind of like not gonna fly, because it's not like you cannot amplify no signal. You still get zero signal. Okay. So funnels, that's the common thing among all the gimmicks and the funnels, is that it works when you have something to scale. but it just doesn't work when there isn't enough signal of what is it that you're building, and that what we're going to talk about in just a second. And if you notice, every one of these, they start from the market. Okay, so do market research first. I mean, obvious. Create customer personas. Yeah, like you think about the people out there in the market that you want to kind of serve, and then pivot until you find PMF. Well, that's how you pivot. You change, you flip different customer personas, and you flip or segments or target audience or ideal client profile, whatever they call it. Um, so you flip them with their respective pain and promise. And this is your product market fit hypothesis. You flip, 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 flip. So you kind of like look at the market, at the market, at the market, at the market. So it's all about the market. Okay. And so basically each one of them also recommends you to grind hard. Okay. If you want to get it, like do market research, grind it, do market research. And if you pivot, like really, and anyways, it's all about grinding. But this advice, this idea that we've been fed, grind to succeed, and the picture kind of gives the vibe of this idea that we're sold, that it's about efforting things into existence, into success. It's about grinding to succeed. And so here's how it actually works. Okay, so the grind is actually a lie, and your uniqueness is your business, and you are the product market fit. So you are the startup, you are the product, you are the market as well. You are your own market, and people like you. And so the grind is really not how you succeed. So going from market to then making a product for that market, and so you are kind of like the worker bee of that entire sequence that just fixes some place that the market calls you to plug and fix. So from that, how the people actually succeed is that they go from themselves, then they find that uniqueness, that authentic self-expression that just wants to, you know, just pours. And so going to then serve the market that corresponds to that uniqueness, what you're here for. And I'll spin the beans and spill the beans and share the recipe in the next slide, actually, and or in a couple of slides. And uh, yeah, and in fact, this is called founder market fit. If you have been into, the startup world long enough, then you get to hear about founder market fit. It's kind of like the layer that opens up of knowledge. First, you just hear about product market fit, and then you hear like, oh, actually, the best investors, they check for founder market fit, and like, oh, and what is that? And barely anyone can really explain what that is. But apparently, investors, they check that, and they kind of like have a sense of how far or close you are to your founder market fit. And so when there is a founder market fit, they actually fund these companies with a much higher likelihood, okay? Because the statistics also shows that founders with founder market fit like super, like by a lot more likely to scale, right? And yeah, and this flip that I'm talking about, it's not just an opinion of mine, right? Or based just on my experience. No, like just check this out. Like the number one reason why startups fail is that there wasn't a market need. Okay, that's the if you look up like the reasons why startups fail and look up the statistics, the reason number one is basically that the wrong founder for the wrong market. So no founder market fit. Okay. So people are not working on something that excites them, basically. It's like, or like, not necessarily it's about excitement, but you get the point. And so people with that mystical quality, they are 230% more likely to scale. And top investors checks for that, right? And when I say mystical, what I really mean is that it's actually quite the opposite. It's actually it's in plain sight. Like it's very obvious because, the creator economy and like the influencer blogger economy, like people have known this and people speak about, having your personal brand and monetizing authenticity. And then in the startup world, you have the Naval Ravikant, which is kind of like highly regarded thinker among for founders that people like often vibe with. So he says literally productize yourself, right? So let's go and see how that actually works. How do you productize yourself? So the good news is that you're already running the beta version of your business. Okay, you just weren't calling it that. And as I was telling you, yeah, you speak to a friend and maybe even often to the same friend, and you get them, out of a place as soon as they get stuck. You speak to them, get them stuck, and then until the next time or something like this. And maybe they even tell you, oh, you should charge for this. Or if not, then you just feel good, that you've been able to actually help a human being, clearly. And maybe, or for sure, like if not all of you, then most of you have a topic you keep researching on, right? Like something just, ooh, ee, has that buzz for you, right? So you research on a particular like topic for a long time. And many of you are probably also are already trying something, moonlighting, so doing something after work or in the weekend, right? And that may be like a particular blog that you're interested in, or some kind of a side project. So really, you're running your business already for free. All right. So what do you do about that? What do we do about that? So what we do about that is that what I'm going to share, and sorry for the change from black to white slide. Um, as essentially what we're talking about here is that to go from running this beta version for free and but still being stuck where you are in your job, where you probably are not super fond of following orders or playing politics, wearing masks and showing up anyways at only a fraction of what you're really capable of. So if that's something that is like a tight shoe for you, and you feel like, oh, there is this potential that is just like so close that is like I can almost touch it, and you like to grow, then essentially the way to bridge and walk that path is to have your unique business, where really all the different scattered signals and tries that you've been doing and moves left and right, where you focus them into one laser focus direction of effort and your energy, and that changes everything. And so let me explain exactly how this works. This is, we can call it the unique business playbook or something, and I'm just gonna share it with you. So here's the recipe. This is how you build your unique business, okay? So there are three steps. First step is the product. Second step is the marketing. Third step is distribution or sales. You got to have all three, as Steve Jobs would say often, to have a successful company. And ooh, you are the product. So the product, the first part. It's about recognizing what product you already have been delivering for free. And if you haven't, then you can still, articulate it. What is it that you do absolutely best and what's most natural to you and gets you into that like excitement flow state. So it starts with that because that's really the seed from everything. Everything else flows out of there. All your business kind of emanates from that version of you where you're really, uplifted, almost like plugged into the socket of the universal energy. And so you kind of like just are loving it and, waking up excited and things like that about the day. So the second step of the recipe is to then package it and communicate it because in order for something to be recognized by someone who it is for, who it can actually help, there are some conditions, criteria that you need to accomplish in order for that to be actually recognizable by them. All right. So it has to have, pricing, and it has to have like some kind of a packaging, like what is it, what format, how it's delivered, maybe landing page, things like that. Like it has to be recognizable. Copy has to describe really what it is, who is it for, what is it helping to achieve, the things people actually care about, right? And so the second step is about defining your first offer, is about having that unique offer of yours and having it actually like properly packaged. Okay. And then the third step is to distribute and sell it. So distribution and selling is all about putting something in front of a person, in front of your clients, in front of your ideal clients, or people that are most closest to your ideal client. So they need to have it available, like so that they can actually so that actually see it, and then they recognize it. Oh, and then they acquire it. They buy your product. They buy your product, and so that these are the three steps. And so let me tell you now exactly how each one of these steps works. All right, so so there are seven steps, right? When I was throughout the years of my experience, essentially, what I understood is that in order to describe a business, and we could see it as even like a unique business canvas. So a business canvas that has, the important pieces of information, kind of like a dashboard of a business, like a business in one sheet of paper. That's what the business canvas is. But this is like a simplified version that is still an even more powerful, perhaps, version of the business canvas. All right. So, and this has a sequence. Okay. So this the big idea here is that your uniqueness stays the same, and then your business emanates from it. So if you are able to actually articulate your uniqueness, turn it into, something someone can read, then you can work with AI and yourself in order to create all these artifacts that together unmistakably make up your business with all the necessary conditions for a successful business, which is an actual product people benefit from, and understanding who that product is for, which is part of packaging. We'll speak about that in just a second, who that product is for, and then putting that product in front of the people that it is for, so that then they can recognize it and buy it. All right. So that's kind of the gist of it. And there are seven, eight, something like that, steps, or that really go downstream from a uniqueness that we have articulated. So when we know the uniqueness of a person, the way it works is that it comes with a shadow. It's like a coin, right? There are two sides. So on one side there is the kind of a superpower, or what the person does especially well, or unique gift of a person, or their uniqueness, their authentic self-expression, their kind of like creative mode, their flow state, all of that. And then on the other hand, on the other side of that is the shadow. So something that we don't see about ourselves, that is our struggle. So we're kind of like on a quest to get better and better and better in a particular aspect, which is our mastery of our craft, and at the same time to work through that shadow, which is known also as the hero's journey. So that's what the hero's journey is really all about. And even the myth of King Arthur and Merlin is the same thing. That's the kind of this Excalibur, is to wield one's unique business and offer it to the world, but wield not in the sense of attacking anybody or extracting or manipulating anybody, but in the sense of actually delivering well-being to others. So when we articulate our uniqueness, it's then possible to articulate our shadow, because it's the other side. It's the opposite. When we articulate our shadow, then that gives us that myth, because uniqueness and shadow is what our quest is to conquer within ourselves. All right. So the myth is a, a widely believed claim about reality, or that actually um, has a deeper truth in it that is actually much more loving and wise. And so when that exists, and for Apple, the myth is think different, right? So it goes um, in battle with a particular no, not in battle. It Yeah, I mean it offers a worldview that is actually more inclusive, that is actually more loving, that is actually kinder, that is actually is based on also a truth about the world, but a much deeper truth that actually includes, but includes that previous truth, but sees it from a higher perspective. And so there is a higher truth about the world, about reality, that this person is here to be on a quest to overcome in oneself as a challenge in order to gain the gift of that higher perspective, of that higher truth. All right. So, and this is this sounds perhaps mm, a little perhaps challenging to apply to yourself, but really, yeah. So rather, I'd go into this direction that when you understand what you are here uniquely to offer a higher perspective, worldview on to humanity, to the world, is creating a polarization because people that are not ready to see that higher truth, they um, they are repelled by this higher truth because they have some resistance to it still to work through through inner work. And so but those for whom that other higher truth worldview is actually resonant, they then self-select into an audience that that I like to call tribe because it feels like your tribe because these are people that are like you, like they are essentially on that similar hero's journey, all right? So they actually have a somewhat the similar in a way uniqueness and the similar shadow and the similar myth and the similar people that they in turn speak to. Okay, so it's like yeah, like they're not exactly like you, obviously. They're different from you, but they're similar. They're very similar to you, actually. So really, that's what it comes down to. Okay, for the tribe, it's just understanding who are the people most similar to you. Then from there, if you know that these people have the similar shadow, similar uniqueness, then basically you know their pain because your pain is similar to their pain. They have that pain, even if it's not, their uh, top pain. It's definitely their pain, and it's definitely in their top pains. Okay, and when we say pain, we're not really, playing like the fear mongering game here of manipulative business practices. We're saying that when something hurts, and someone empathizes with it, we feel deep resonance. And so our attention is drawn there. And so this is how to capture attention without appealing to evolutionarily lower human emotions, such as fear and greed and scarcity and yeah, things like that. So when we have that description of pain, then it's possible to turn that into a promise. And this is the hero's journey, beginning and end. So, excuse me, people are promised to essentially be shifted from point A to point B. This is what I like to call transformative result or transformative promise. So this is something where people, well, promise is from like the point of view of who's building the business, transformative result from, when we look at that as an object. So and that is the journey A to B. That is the transformational journey that people are invited on. And so then the next step is to essentially break it down into chewable, graspable chunks for the person, right? And and of course, you don't have to take, the person from the very zero point on that journey to the very end of that journey. Why? Because there is no end of that journey. It's an infinite journey, and you are on that journey, and you may be thinking you're not ready yet because you haven't solved it for yourself, but that's what we've been doing all your life, essentially. And there's no point when you finally get there, when you have that. And you could build, some goals and say that, a metrics approach, but then whatever metric you actually come up with, it would be arbitrary, right? Like it would just be some particular milestone on that infinite journey, really, of growing a business. So um, well, we can talk more about that, about how to work with different mental blockers that expect us on the way. These are kind of like the bosses in the video game, right? So in order to advance and gain clarity, then we have to go through the fog, right? And in the fog, then we have to um, yeah, essentially like pass levels, like in a video game. Yeah. So when we have that A to B journey, we can then break it down into chewable chunks, as I said. And so what are the chewable chunks? Well, this is what's known as value ladder, the ascending containers. And these containers are ascending as people progress on their mastery from point A to point B, and also in terms of the like depth and length of engagement, and also in terms of pricing. And then in order to make it into a journey that is actually infinite, because this journey is infinite, then a subscription product exists to be added at the end of the value ladder that is, works until both are benefiting from that exchange. All right, so this was the recipe. So we hid nothing, okay? And you can just take this recipe, and implement this into your business right now, really. You can, rewatch it. I don't know if we're gonna make this downloadable or not, but probably not. It feels. Yeah. So I hid nothing, and you can, take this recipe and implement it into your business right now. And I want to offer you another opportunity, a next step to actually act on this process. So what I've found is that it helps a lot with a process like this or any transformative process for that matter to go with a guide who's actually done this. All right. So that, we're shown the shortcuts. It's like the concept of a coach, trainer, teacher, guide in the mountains, whatever. It's the same thing. It's like to actually follow advice of someone that has done it. Uh, I mean, I'm saying very obvious things. Helps. And then you also know that what helps is that you go in a dynamic, right, in a group of people, and so there is this like team energy, group energy of multiple people doing it at the same time and having some touch points. And something else that obviously works very well is when there's a structured container, right? So as opposed to us kind of like grasping things here and there in Instagram's how do you call it, feed and whatever else we like over here from people, and then little brick by brick be putting together our own kind of playbook. It really helps when the playbooks are available and when there is some kind of an easy structure where you can commit to learning and to practicing something, right? And so those three things, as is obvious, work very well. So what I want to offer you as the next step, yeah, I'm modeling this entire thing on myself, obviously, and so if this doesn't work, to essentially for this next step to feel like you're not being sold something, but you're actually being invited on a beautiful journey, and it's just kind of like a no-brainer. But I'll leave it up to you to decide, right? But that's kind of the idea is that, when this is something that is clearly, very helpful and is coming from a good place, and that you can trust the person if you can trust the person, and if this the information just like clicks and makes sense, and it's almost like you always knew it somewhere deep down. So if all these things are there, like whoa, let's go, right? But it's up to you, of course. So to decide, here's what I offer, right? Here's what I put on the table. Let's build your unique business together in just 6 weeks. Okay. I feel that this number of weeks is actually great in order to accomplish what I'll speak about in a second, which is to articulate your zone of genius, right? So, I mean, that's the starting point. You kind of I think connecting the dots, that it starts with your own uniqueness. And so articulation of your uniqueness with a high precision is really at the core of this whole thing, right? And then from there, you really want to like package your offer. Like if you cannot sell what's not packaged, like it won't be recognized by a person. It has to have a packaging, right? And obviously, something like that can be put into a playbook. And then essentially what I think is very, very much possible to have, more than likely, I would even say to have by the end of the program, is to have a paying client or paying clients, or at least beta testers, or at least beta tester. I think yeah. I mean that's really the first step where you put action into it in terms of like actually touching your clients, all right, or people that are just like your clients. Um, Meaning from your warm network or not. So this is really where it all starts to click and to happen. And if you do your part, right, like no one can lose weight for anyone else, or no one can gain muscle for anyone else. Like the person has to do it. That's just how it is. And so if you do your part, and we obviously facilitate that as much as possible, then that's what I think is you're more than likely to receive from this program. And we also provide business infrastructure, right? So this whole process that I described, uh, I mean, you can already imagine, right, that when we do it as a group with good prompts, like that's already going to be fire. But how about having AI workflows for all of this? All right, so that you can actually run it in your own AI and you can like 10x this whole thing, and having those prompts and workflow system then you can actually run. So that's something else that we'll be providing. And then the way it works is it's 2 weekly sessions. Okay, so first we gather for strategy, and then we gather in a hands-on workshop, almost like a mini hackathon. Okay, and we just get this thing done. We get these things done as a group, and we facilitate. And then we just do it on repeat every week, all right, for 6 weeks. Okay. And so you also get access to founder community. So these are people in similar life stages, right? If they're, going for this container, then that's that, and people who share vibes. So we are starting on April 14th. All right. We have limited spots, and I mean, why do I even say that? All right. And so we start on April 14th. All right. And we're able to offer you a cohort pricing of $1,500, which is really a great deal because if you do it with me one-on-one, then it's going to cost you much more for what we're going to cover in these 6 weeks. And it's not even only me. This is done as a team. Okay, so uh, you're gonna get a lot of value from this and have a lot of fun, more than likely. All right, so this is what I wanted to share with you. Your next step is to click the button below to enroll. Again, we start April 14th. We do have a limitation on the spots. Obviously, I don't know if like how fast this fills up. So yeah, you get the point. Uh, but only if you choose it and if you're fully aligned with this and you vibe with this and you trust this, right? And you feel like you can benefit from this. All right, so the next step is to click that button below. If you have any questions, you can book a 15-minute call with us. I will be probably taking at least some of these calls, and also our team will be, or you can get more information. And that's that. Thank you so much, and sending you all much love.